Good morning and welcome to Morning Vibe. My name is Remmy Majala and thank you so much for joining us. Today it is Wednesday and of course it is the day we speak about relationship and matters concerning your heart. And we have with us of course two young guests who will give us the perspective on this particular topic we are having today, which is finances and relationships. Who holds the power when it comes to this particular dynamic? I mean, traditionally, men have been seen to have the power, but in this day and age, we've had, some sort of balance, but the scales have not moved in that matter. The man is still, in society rather, perceived to be the head of the household, though that mentioned, we still do have women taking up this role in a very powerful way. But according to these young people, the ones we're having in studio today to speak about this conversation, what does this really look like? Now, we have a question of the day. We're asking you, do you think financial dependence fosters domestic abuse in relationship or a marriage? Do you think financial dependence fosters domestic abuse in a relationship or marriage? Tell us what you think. We're dying to know your perspectives on the same. And like I mentioned, we have our guests with us in studio today. And let me introduce them. We have Natasha Nosim. She's not new to our show. She's been here before, Natasha. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I love your afro.
Thank you.
It's
Stop you.
Right, thank you for coming in. Natasha is a digital creator, and you've seen her on TikTok, doing a couple of, different things, speaking about different issues here and there, including national matters, politics or so, and she's here to discuss this. We also do have with us in studio, he's a digital creator. He's called Togo. That's his famous. He's famously known as that.
Yes.
But he told me I can call him Rick. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very happy to be here. Very excited about the conversation. Yeah.
Welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
You came suave. You came ready.
I came ready for this conversation. For real, for real. I came prepared.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. So let's begin it in this way. Present day, when someone holds finances, or rather takes care of the household, men or women, but we're speaking about them being together, not per se. I mean, there's so many dynamics of relationships these days, but I just want to narrow it down to when a man and a woman are in this particular situation and they're holding the money perspective here, or money aspect. Who has more power, present day?
Definitely the one with the money. Definitely the one with the money, because the other one is dependent. So once you are dependent, you can't survive without the other. So the one with the money holds the power. I say jump, you jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rick?
Well, I'll be very honest. It's a balance, right? Definitely, I agree with Nosim to a larger or smaller extent. But you'll find right now in modern day society, men will do a lot of things to try get money, right, to appease women. So the question really, right, in that case, who really has the power? If this person is jumping through hoops to do all these things just to appease another person, yes, the money does give them power over the situation, but the fact that he feels like that drive to go look for this money to appease this person, the woman also has a lot of say in that conversation.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
of course, it is interesting because it's common knowledge when you're saying appease. Appease can mean a lot of things. And you're smiling.
Yeah, I really have something to say about whatever you said right now.
Right.
Yeah, because it doesn't, when you have money, it does not matter what the reason behind getting it is, what you do after you get it. Like if I have it now, if I want to manipulate you to beat you up because I know you can't leave, it does not matter if I got the money to appease you or not. It matters that I have the money now and I'm controlling you. Yeah.
I agree. But at the end of the day, you'll find, like, you have to look at it in a balanced way, right? We have a proportion of relationships that are toxic, right? Yet we do have a good proportion of relationships that are somewhat healthy. And you'll find in those situations, right, you'll find a lot of guys will bend themselves backwards trying to keep a woman happy, in the sense of financially just push whatever it is that she needs, whatever it is that she wants. Make all these sacrifices, But that said, right, we do have these people who any tool of power that they can get to use over somebody else, they will use, So money is just one element. Yeah.
Right. We're having a situation in present day where money talks. If you do not have money in any way, whether we're speaking about this conversation about money and power in a relationship setup. Even when, like he said, you're approaching a lady, you want her or you could never get her, but the fact that you have something that, you know, can tell her, hey, and she looks at you and listens, that's a very powerful dynamic.
Yeah.
Right? So some men would say, some women perpetuate that a lot. We are living in times which are expensive.
Yeah.
But for some women, they've based a lot of their values on money. So if you're talking to me, then you've got to have it, right?
Yeah.
What's your perspective on that? Does that make the woman powerful or powerless?
I feel like it makes the woman powerful, and that's why men hate it.
In what perspective? Please elaborate.
In the sense that when I have standards, certain standards, for example, you need to have money to talk to me, because let's assume I'm not from a rich background and I need to feel whatever I didn't feel when I was younger. That makes the man who is not capable to provide that a little bit angry, or maybe not so comfortable with the situation. Hence, they term the women who want money in relationships gold diggers. So I'm for the girl. Look, if you want the money, get the money.
He's looking at you very funny right now.
I want to hear what he has to say.
I have a hot take on that one, because this whole system, let's not kid ourselves, like it's historically, you can look it up, right? It's a system that has been enforced and perpetuated by men. Men are complaining now because we're losing at the game that we set up. You get? We used money as a tool of power for so long when men had like more economic opportunities. And now that it's more of an even playing field, men are like saying, no, why is it that you're valuing money so much? I'm like, come on. You know, come out, Toshimboga, relax. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I don't feel like it's fair to say that we're living in a time where men are like looking at themselves as a victim, yet you set up the game, you know? Like, take it. You set it up, take it. It is what it is. If a woman only values you for your money, remember, we are the ones who set up the system, you know? So just take it as it is and just keep it moving. But at the end of the day, there are pitfalls to it, because what we all crave is human connection, you know? So if we're craving human connection and we overcomplicate an issue with money, we complicate an issue with all these all these different social dynamics, it makes it a very messy playing field, because it's very emotive for so many people, you know? That's just my take on it.
But do you think that sometimes it's just that the woman wants money? It's not necessarily because the man set up the game. I might not have grown in money, and that's the reason why I want money, not necessarily because...
But in that space, right, sometimes women pose a question like, a job would solve your problems better than a relationship would. So is it a relationship that you want, or is it an economic opportunity that you need? Because those two things can coexist.
Exactly my point. Like, I don't need, like, it's not a man who's made me want money. But if money comes through a man, then fine.
But now, does it make it more complicated? Do you just hit your goal, or now you have like a human being to also, you know, many of situations, some women will tell you that they've had to do things they don't like, you know, have to stay with someone they don't appreciate or want or like, just to be able to have money. Some of them, it began really well, like a good marriage, and then it just ended up going to, you know, the left. And then for others, they just got into a relationship or a situationship or whatever it is because of the money dynamic. Now, you find younger girls emulating that, and then they've gone to school, they've graduated, but now the job market is hard. So they will look for money in many ways, in any way that they can get it, which now solves, but also doesn't solve an issue.
It solves and brings up another problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that practical?
You know, to some extent, it really depends on the person who is doing it, because if they had that in mind, then that's not a problem, because they prepared for it. Like, they knew, I'm going here for this amount of time to get this amount of money, and then I'll check. Or I'm willing to tolerate it because this amount of money is at play. So it really depends on the person. Unless you didn't know what you're getting yourself into, now that's different. Because once you get yourself into something you didn't know about, like, let's assume you were married and then your husband said, no, I want you to be a stay-at-home mom, because that's what manipulative people do. I want you to be a stay-at-home mom, and then now he starts micromanaging you. There's no money for groceries, there's no money for this, you want to go to the salon, hello, and then now it becomes narcissistic, yeah? So that's now another aspect to it, because sometimes the woman might not know what she's getting herself into.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel this is something that women don't get to hear enough. Every time you give up your love and affection in exchange for money, you're the one on the losing end, right?
Oh, really?
To be very, very honest, because what you're giving up, like the sinister intentions on the other, like just think about it, right? Who in their right mind feels comfortable enough, right, to be like, you know what, I know I'm paying for love. What do you think that person feels about themselves? And how do you think that person is going to treat you if that's how they feel about themselves, you know? So at the end of the day, I feel like women give up way more when they put themselves in situations where they're like, you know what, I am with this guy because of survival. Like, and it gets deep. Somebody loses their job, you need somewhere to stay. You need, like, you lose your job, you don't have money for like rent, you don't have money for food. You genuinely need somewhere to stay, you know? And on the flip side, as a man, right, as a healthy human being that you're not trying to manipulate anyone, how is it that you are comfortable, like, knowing that the only reason this person is with me is because I provide for them a roof over their head?
But most people, you know, you're assuming that this is a healthy dynamic, because most situations, it's not a healthy household, because financial dependency means you rely on the other person entirely to be provided for. That isn't healthy at all. Like, if you really cared about your person, hata kama hana pesa, they don't have money, they don't have a source of income, and you have that source of income, you would create an opportunity for this other person in the relationship to make their own money. That's how you know the situation is genuine and it's balanced.
But you see, most of now, we're not looking at ideal.
Yeah.
We're looking at practical.
Yeah.
So we have most situations where, you know, one's partner does not assist, and especially with women. You've seen a lot of cases, and we even covered here in different bulletins, where women have had to work extra hard for things despite the fact that they may have a partner or a husband or whatever it is that can be able to, you know, pay or do particular things, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking at the end of the day, not how unhealthy or healthy this thing is. It is, as an individual, as a woman, there are things that women are told that they need to do to make money or to do, and it's okay. But how okay is okay when it comes to your well-being and your mental health? You know, does it fit into domestic violence? Does it fit into, you know, things in pop culture, like we see even on social?
Yeah. And I feel like it's, for women, unless you've experienced a power dynamic with finance, then you wouldn't know what to do. Because in the situations where you are in a relationship where a man is taking responsibility of every financial decision that you make in the house, then you're prone to be emotionally abused, to be psychologically abused, and domestically abused, because you don't have a place to go.
So do you think there's a confusion whereby women know they're supposed to be treated right? They're supposed to be earning, they're supposed to be doing, like, they're queens, men are supposed to provide. But then you go into that and not look at the reality of the matter. So do you think there is a lack of not wanting to understand, or just being, you know, ignorant, blatantly ignorant about it?
I wouldn't call it ignorance, I'll call it delusion, because when women are in love, they low-key are, you know, blinded. They don't see the other side of things. So you end up getting in a marriage, you don't know the person entirely. You don't know how they work, how their mind operates. So you end up being in a different situation. Yeah.
What I'll say here is the same thing I tell my small sisters, right? Once you become an adult, you have a responsibility to take care of yourself. There's no shortcuts. You know, yes, we are all living like in the same world, but at the end of the day, we live in a time where, like, we have opportunities, right? Like, you cannot substitute like a job with a relationship. You can't make that swap, you know? Like, your job cannot be, your hustle cannot be your partner. You get? You need to find the thing that you do. You need to find the thing that works for you. And I say that knowing very well that, of course, out here, there's a way that men operate in terms of trying to keep women in a specific place, you know? But for the life of me, don't give up that power, you know, because once you do, nobody who has genuine good intentions towards you, right, is interested in taking power away from you.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I feel like it's really unfair on yourself as a woman if you sit there and you relinquish that willingly. You know, you get into an entire marriage, right, have kids, right, and you yourself, you know, I do not have the ability to take care of them. You've given, even though this guy is a good guy, you've given him so much power over you, right? And you know what happens when you give somebody too much power? They have the tendency to abuse it. You know,
the disrespect starts there.
it starts there because, and what will you do?
So let's also now flip it.
Yeah.
When it is now a woman who is powerful and she's she's the provider, because Natasha, we've looked at now the women dynamic, what women expect, because it's something that you find we're taught, you know, that the man is dependent and the like, but then your education counts for something, all those things count for something, and then you go into society and, you know, it's okay to be provided for, but then there's a caveat. Same thing. Okay, I know you want to say so. I'll just let you. Let me know you can finish what I'm saying.
And I think it's a thing of beauty in its own way, right? Like, we live in a time as well where we have women who are of a certain age, women who have come out of marriages, women who have never married, women who have maybe not had families, you know, and they're in a place where they do have money, right? And they want to keep somebody there to entertain them, right? There's also that dynamic of, you have guys now, young guys, and they look for guys like me, young guys who are just starting out in life, you know, and they're like, you know what, me neza kuweka, you know, and it's still the same thing, ironically enough, right? Because I've gotten to see this with my own eyes, that it chips away at you, any, like, be it a man or a woman, when you relinquish that power of, do you know what, I'm in this relationship because I want to, not because I'm getting anything like material from it. It chips away at you, because especially for guys who are kept, that the longer you're in that situation, the longer it chips away at the essence of who you are. And you leave those relationships as a shell of the human being that you are when you enter into it. Because that, everybody gets a sense of satisfaction by knowing, by the way, you know what, I did this for myself. Right? But you're in a situation where you know, the only reason I have this is because I am making this woman happy.
Interesting. What's your perspective on that? When is the woman who is now the, you know, the caregiver, the one in power?
I feel like, and this is gonna rub some shoulders wrongly, but
I think it's okay at this rate. Yeah.
I feel like women are they're better off. Like, if the woman would be the one having the money, it would be, I'm not saying it should be like that, I'm saying it would be better. Because women tend to not be physically abusive, I can say that, like some of them. Yo, naona ni kama choma. Well, in the households that I've been in, in the households that I've been in, the woman would take care of the house and the man himself without like seeing a big deal out of it, like taking a big deal out of it.
But what kind of situation was it? Was it healthy?
Yes.
Was it
like she would understand that the man is not in a position to provide, and she would take responsibility, and the respect of the man would still be there. So that's a household I've been.
She would still respect her husband.
Yes, and that is such a win move. I respect her for it, because most people, a normal human being, well, not a normal human being. Some people would be like, oh, now she goes around moving with other men who are better off than the husband, you know, or now disrespecting the husband in front of the kids. I commend her for it, but sometimes I feel like women would, like, if women.
Yeah, he's smiling. He's
he wants to pick me up.
To be very honest with you, okay, I do agree. Honestly, I do agree with you, like, for the most part, right? I do agree that when women do have the power, it generally produces less toxic situations, right?
Thank you.
But there's a caveat, right? And by the way, this is not the fault of women. When women have the power, it brings out the worst in men. It triggers the worst insecurity in men, because this same guy who was secure, because, you know, they've been conditioned by the way, if I provide, everything is fine. But now you're in this point of, now that's not the case, right? This guy will always be thinking, what if she's meeting up with all these people who have, like,
and that is usually the first thought that comes to a man when, let's say, the wife is the one providing. He assumes immediately that there is a better man, a man who has more money, and it makes the whole situation about money again, which is sometimes not necessarily like that.
So what is a healthy way, or what is a healthy looking money dynamic in a relationship? Because most of what we're seeing are things that have evolved somewhat to be better and somewhat to be worse. So we have extremes of each other on both ends, right? We have, you know, the balance, And still in that balance, you can point out some cracks. And then now we have the actual cracks. Whether it is, you know, a man who is okay to be kept, or there's a woman who doesn't want to work, or there's a young lady who is educated but doesn't find the need of a job because, let's say, she's been meeting, you know, men who can be able to take care of her. So there's some who'll be like, yeah, I've read, but my degree is okay. I prefer not to, but not because she can. So you see, there's so many examples of why this is happening, right? But it doesn't take away from the reality, which is the power dynamic. So here it's a core thing, you know, and even from our viewers here, it's a very power dynamic. It does not leave this conversation, whether you're educated or not. So how does that healthy scenario, how is it supposed to look like according to you?
I feel like it all roots from having healthy mental, you know, understanding of yourself and your partner. Because the moment I don't want to work and I want to be a stay-at-home mom, I should be able to do that. Not because now I won't have to work because my husband is gonna take advantage of me or gonna take advantage of the fact that I'm broke. It should be I married this person fully knowing what I want and what is expected of me in that household and what he's gonna get. And the fact that he is emotionally mature, psychologically mature to accept the fact that he should be taking care of us, not because he should, but because we agreed that he will, you know. So I feel like it all stems from psychological understanding of each other and emotional understanding of each other. And same to the other side, if the man doesn't want to work, it should be okay. And if both of you want to work, it should be okay. Like it doesn't. It's an
understanding between both of you.
Because money, when you bring in money, then the whole situation is just going to be imbalanced. Because one time you'll have the job, the other time you don't. And how sure am I that my husband would beat me up when I don't have a job? I won't go sleep with another man because he doesn't have one, you know? So I feel like we need to understand our psychological placements and of our partners as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, my opinion is I agree with what you say, and I'll go further and say, and this might trap people the wrong way, right? Date and marry people like where you're of a similar caliber. When I say that, right, as much as, let's say, you're a woman in a relationship and you're like, you know what, at this moment in time, I may not be in a place where I want to work and I want to be in a relationship where I'm kept, right? You should be with a person who you have the same earning capacity, right? I have the papers, I have A, B, C, D options, but right now, maybe I'm not in that headspace, you know? But the issue, I think, comes in when you have such a big gap in the sense of this person's earning capacity and this person's earning capacity. The gap is so huge that there is no way this person will ever be here. You get? Then you'll have issues because whenever you're sitting down having that conversation with somebody, respect has to be earned. Respect has to hold on to something. You know what I mean? So in the sense of...
But does respect stem from money?
It's not stemming from money. It's about what you have built for yourself.
Okay.
You get?
Yeah.
I cannot sit down and respect
someone who has nothing. True.
Not somebody who has nothing, somebody who has not built anything of themselves.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So as I say, like at whatever level, at whatever socioeconomic level, date at where you're equal, sort of.
And we're taking a short break. We'll be back with more of the conversation. And I think we should take it from the level of what you've said, respect. I think it's a very important thing. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.